tomorrow we're gonna be here till midnight. That strikes Friday the 13th. Our first Friday the 13th episode.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So you guys out there, if you got Friday the 13th stories, and you want to call in, you're available tomorrow. We want to hear those stories. I have one bizarre one. I'll share that one. But yeah, if we get another call, let's take one.
Yeah. Let's grab Dustin T here. Dustin, you are on Inverted World Live. Can you hear us? The mute strikes again.
I gotta remember to say that to people.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all good.
No, you're okay.
I just downloaded it.
No, it's fine. I did this actually earlier when I was sound testing, and because I was like, I wonder if this just auto mutes people, and it did the same thing to me. So I get it now.
What's going on? How are you?
Well, so first I want to say thanks, guys, for just taking my call. It's awesome that you guys allow people to call in with whatever their ideas or stories are.
Thanks for calling in.
But I heard you guys talking about grandparents passing and well, I mean, I think Shane said something about demons, but I have a story about the day that my grandmother passed and meeting a guardian angel.
Oh, let's hear it.
So when I was in my early 20s, I might have been 21, maybe 20, and I was working, and I ended up getting a phone call, and they called me over the PA to get me to go to the office, and they said, you have a phone call from a family friend, and automatically I knew, something's not right. And they told me that my grandmother had passed. So being younger and everything, I didn't have a driver's license at the time and everything. So I relied on rides. So I knew somebody was coming to get me, Well, it turned out it was my mom and my sister that came to get me. And we lived about 40 miles outside of where my grandmother passed. So we were riding in there and, of course, sharing stories and talking and everything. And as soon as we get into the town, and it's a spot that I still pass to this day, I everything I do is right by there. So I remember it vividly. We were taking this big blind left turn, where there was a lot of business access and everything. And as we take that big blind left turn, we're talking about my grandmother and everything. I look up and I just notice that somebody has just pulled out in front of us and we have no time to stop. And I just thought, oh my God, not today, We end up hitting them, obviously. You can't stop physics. And we all pile out. And of course, me and my family kind of gather up. We start looking and we see a couple of individuals that take note, like this little old lady with this bright white curly hair, little bit hunched over, but she doesn't need a cane. Got her purse and she's just walking through town. And we also notice an older guy with no leg. He's got a wooden leg. And he's over there and he's talking to everybody and he's describing everything that happens, and I can hear it out of my ear. But then the little old lady just grabs me, my mom, my sister. She pulls all of us together. And without us ever having said a word about my grandmother passing, she said something about, I know that y'all's mother needs this right now. And she said a prayer with us.
Whoa.
There was no, but what really struck me is I grew up a Jehovas Witness. We don't really believe in those type of things, And especially at that time, I wasn't religious at all. I didn't really believe in anything. But just she knew that my grandmother had passed, and she gathered us all up and she said a prayer with us. And just that action of saying a prayer just meant so much to all of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And and we all looked at each other, and we kind of gave a hug in amongst our family. And as soon as we stop hugging each other, we go to wipe our tears, and this little old lady, she's gone. She's nowhere.
Incredible.
We can't see her. She's not crossing the street. She's not waiting for the light to turn. She's not waiting for the police to show up. She's just gone. Then we asked like the one-legged man, and he says there was no old lady here. No one else stopped. It was just you guys.
Incredible. Never saw her again.
Never saw her again. I had and she didn't resemble anything that would make me think of like it felt original, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it wasn't a deja vu. It wasn't it wasn't a previously lived or experienced thing. It was that was an angel that just showed up. That was an angel, and they just popped up.
Did you guys talk about that afterwards?
Limited times we talk about it. Again, especially with the family being like Jehovah's Witness and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a taboo topic.
Yeah.
And all.
Right.
I don't really due to other things. I don't talk to my sister very much. So my mom and I on occasion maybe will bring it up, especially like, around my grandmother's birthday or the date of her passing or something. But we don't really talk about it in depth, I think, because we all just kind of have a feeling.
Right. Did that change your view of religion at that point?
It changed my view of spirituality and the understanding of what I would call the oneness of life, how everything interacts with itself, whether it's alive or dead.
Right.
The energy still exists. So I think it just brought me further to the feeling that I already have about how all of life is intermingled. I think it was Bill Hicks that put it best. He said, we're all one life experiencing self subjectively. There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we're merely the imagination of ourselves.
Dude, amazing Bill Hicks quote.
Thank you.
Incredible.
But I've always felt that that's pretty true.
And is that in conflict? That's in conflict.
I had a niece that passed away.
Okay.
She died of SIDS.
Oh wow.
Well, she didn't actually die of SIDS. SIDS almost killed her. But my sister-in-law's dad was a cop. He heard the call right off the bat. He came to their house. He did everything he could, and he got my niece to the hospital, where she lived for 2 days. To where we all got to say goodbye and everything.
Oh my goodness.
And of course, later you have to hold a funeral. And again, the only way I can explain is I saw some touch of the spirit. My mother's favorite like animal and like little thing is the hummingbird. And hummingbirds aren't necessarily rare, but they're not common the area I live. And the day of my niece's funeral, I was standing up, I was beside my loved ones and everything, but I was trying to pay attention, and I saw a hummingbird with brilliant green and purple plumage come, and it hovered above my mom and my sister-in-law who just lost her child. And then it buzzed around me and my brother, and then it just went on.
That's amazing.
And same thing, I felt like, well, that must be a visitation of my niece, right? Like,
I think
to
so.
me, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Everything is there. It's always present. The beauty that you see in front of you is the beauty that your ancestors laid out for you.
Oh yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, and some people just say that they write it off as a coincidence, but that's a great example of like one of the reasons I don't believe in coincidences. Like there's something bigger to
Well,
that, you
yes,
know?
sir. That's a good way to put it. That's a
Much
good way to
bigger.
put it. There's not necessarily such thing as coincidence. It's a spiritual merging. Coincidence is probably closer to like a deja vu.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You know, and I think a lot of people, it's easier to write off some of those, what should be more spiritual encounters, like what you just described, as a coincidence, because it would force some people who aren't spiritual at all to confront that, you know, and they kind of write it off and you say, you know, it's just weird. It happened. But I see those things
It
as
is.
that's beautiful, you know.
And I
And
feel that that's sad. I
it
feel that's
is.
sad for a lot of people.
I agree.
Like you're missing a lot of mystery, but also a lot of honesty in your life if you can't accept the idea that there's more out there than us.
Yep. And
Like, be it physical or spiritual.
I
Like,
totally. And I was gonna
you're
ask
limiting
you.
yourself.
I was gonna ask. So like something like that with the hummingbird, would that be in conflict with the Jehovah's Witness outlook of the world?
Um, to think about it the way that I'm thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of,
Okay.
kind of would be because you're, so in the Jehovah's Witness religion, um, I mean, there's different technical beliefs. Everybody's heard of the, what is it, 140 or 40, 4,400,000
Like the missing stuff.
souls, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That. I mean, they even had a show about that, I believe, right?
Right.
About the saved souls.
Yep.
Jehovah's Witnesses believe that there's only that many people that will ever go to heaven, but they believe that anyone that is in adherence to the witnessing of Jehovah or Yahweh
Mm-hmm.
is to be resurrected on earth.
Okay.
So you'll have everlasting life in essentially a renewed Garden of Eden,
Right. So is a lot of
right?
it? Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Sorry. So the belief in spirits, um, essentially in Jehovah's Witness beliefs, almost every spirit is seen to be a demon,
Mm-hmm.
unless it fully presents itself and proves itself to be an angel.
Hmm.
It's considered to be a demon
Is there
because
like is
it's leading
there
you astray.
is there like people within the religion who have had an encounter and then maybe go to the church and then they have to decide if it was an angel or not? And is there like a process?
Well, actually, every it's just before Easter. Jehovah's Witnesses obviously they don't adhere to Easter,
Right.
because Easter, and I'm sure you probably maybe know some of this. Easter is actually an amalgamation of various pagan holidays.
Yeah, they say that about,
Um,
you know, Christmas and a lot of
yeah,
that stuff. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Well, as Jehovah's Witness, you're raised that way and everything, right?
Right.
But the one thing that you have is more similar to a Passover,
Okay.
more similar to like a Jewish Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you all get together and you meet. It's not at the same church, which we in Jehovah's Witnesses they don't call it a church. It's called a kingdom hall.
Right.
Um, but during oh, I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting the actual technical name.
Oh, that's okay.
It's been many years since I've actually been a devout Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyways, so like you're going to your Passover, you don't actually go to your kingdom hall or your church. You'll all meet at a larger meeting facility. There'll be what are called brothers or elders
Mm-hmm.
that will give talks. Um, there's no, priest or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all based on your devotion to the church, basically. And there's no elder sisters. There's all from what I remember.
Right.
They might have changed now because I apparently now some of my family is still in it. They allow tattoos and stuff,
Oh, interesting.
so they've changed a little. But in my experience, there was never any elder sisters, only elder brothers, and elder brothers would come from different congregations to give talks and different things around Passover. And then they would have, again, I don't remember the exact specific name. If you guys really want, I could probably try and bother my mom and get her to tell you. But for brevity,
Yeah.
um, they all went around almost like a communion, except it's passed around the same as a communion, but it's treated more like what is it they call it when Catholics get the bread and the wine.
Yeah, it's communion, I think, right?
Okay,
No.
is that communion? Okay. But then the plate gets passed around.
Oh,
Yeah.
For like the
The collection plate,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the collection. Okay. So what they do is they kind of combine both those things, but it's only once a year during the Passover event, right?
Hmm.
And you have the wine and the bread on a plate, and it gets passed down every row. And only if you feel that you have been approached by an angel or Jesus or God himself do you eat or drink of that plate.
Wow.
And that's who the 4,400,000 are supposed to be, are only the people that eat and drink from the plate during Passover.
Am I wrong for thinking there could be a lot of judgment in that room as that's happening?
An extreme amount.
Right? You're
An
like
extreme
peeking, you're
amount.
looking around, be like,
I boldly remember being a child
that's wild.
and seeing someone that we know take from the plate.
Wow.
And all of us just leaned in, and of course there was gossip.
Right. Yeah. How could there not be? That's wild. Wow.
There can't not be. It's yeah.
Well, thank you for these stories. Did you have anything else you want to share?
I'm not sure actually. Your guys' questions have made me think about more things than anything.
Awesome.
More than anything, I say for everybody out there, just observe what's around you, because this is something I believe. And just because I have the platform right now and you're allowing it to me, I would like to share this. Look at the beauty around you and just remember those that came before you. All of your loved ones did everything they could to put the beauty forth for you, whether you think it or not. So just always remember that we're all part of the same something.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you taking my phone call.
Of course. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Dustin. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
I love how the callers so far have kind of matched my whole idea of the Brian Wilson Beach Boys music. Of like, there's the beauty and the darkness of this world. Forget about.
Yeah, you just completely died out.
Yo,
check that.
yo, I'm back.
Yeah, check that cable.
That's what I get. No, it's not the cable. It's the Gremlins. But like,
I refuse to believe it's the Gremlins.
they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out of your computer.